All right. Thank you all for joining us and welcome to our webinar, Mastering Marketing Prioritization. I'm Jillian and I'll be moderating this session. In this webinar, you'll hear from Dan Rose, who is a leading expert in campaign management for marketing teams. He will share practical steps to transform your marketing to deliver better customer experiences at scale. Before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping items. One, please enter any questions in the Q&A panel, which can be found at the bottom center of your screen. We will be watching for your comments and questions, and we will answer those at the end of today's presentation. Two, the session is being recorded and will be available on demand at a later date. And lastly, one lucky attendee will be randomly selected to win an away carry-on bag. So make sure you check your inbox after the webinar to see if you are a lucky winner. And with that, today we will be talking about why change is important and why now, the road to success, the Smartsheet value, and leave you with some success stories. And with that, let's get started. Passing to you, Dan.
Hi, my name is Dan. I'm a marketing solutions manager here at Smartsheet. Prior to joining Smartsheet, I worked in global marketing roles for over 15 years, and I sat in the hot seat like many of you are in, and I understand a lot of the challenges you have with an increasingly competitive and challenging market, as well as a lot more focus within many organizations on what marketing teams are doing and the oftentimes constant pressure to keep delivering more and more. So let's take a look at where marketing is at today. We look at marketing management and it's demanding, right? Number one, many marketing teams today are facing challenges, and that includes low executive visibility. Maybe it's some outdated workflows or just overall ineffective efforts. Smartsheet addresses these challenges by providing real-time visibility into work processes, more modernized workflows, and enable data-driven decision-making. This helps marketing teams operate more efficiently and effectively. Oftentimes when I show this slide to customers, I see that aha moment in their eyes. This slide tends to really showcase the chaos that comes from disjointed workflows. Let's face it, it's not fun to look at, and it's even less fun to live through. And I'll be the first person to raise my hand that I can relate to this all too well. And it's exhausting. But even more than being exhausting, it's also costly. It's costly in terms of hard dollars. It's costly in terms of your energy. It's costly to work like this in terms of your productivity and also the ultimate product that you're putting out. On top of that, marketers are spending an unnecessary amount of time in emails and chats. A recent survey from Adobe found that 57% of emails sent throughout the workday are just for checking in on status of something or providing the status of something. These fragmented workflows, attempting to support these massive marketing work streams, can lead to some pretty big challenges across your team. My job is to show you how easily these challenges can be addressed with Smartsheet in the picture. Let's take a look. This is where Smartsheet can begin to make your marketing team shine. Imagine a world where you can drive team and organization level alignment and strategic goals and provide valuable visibility on project statuses. Also imagine where you have centralized intake that's easily able to support change requests, resource allocation and reallocation, as well as assess the impact of in-flight marketing initiatives. Thirdly, you can streamline teamwork and collaboration. You can eliminate silos and track dependencies, visualizing marketing campaigns across multiple dimensions to identify conflicts and capitalize on new opportunities. We look at marketing management at Smartsheet really across sort of 5 tentpoles. And that first one is the marketing alignment and strategic planning. This is the opportunity to roadmap what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, who's going to do it. It is a way of supporting team and organizational level alignment on strategic goals, and it provides visibility on project status to properly prioritize marketing initiatives with data. Number 2, the second pillar is request intake and capacity planning. Like that previous slide where everything can become incoming from, whether it's Teams, Slack, email, text messages, etc. This allows you to centralize your intake It supports change requests, resource allocation and reallocation, and assessing the impact of in-flight marketing initiatives. The third tent pole is work management, one of my favorites because this is the part where you're actually executing and streamlining the teamwork and collaboration. You're able to eliminate silos and track dependencies. You can visualize your marketing campaigns across multiple dimensions to identify conflicts and capitalize on new opportunities. The fourth pillar is content collaboration. Here you accelerate content production with centralized proofing, version control, markup commenting, and track stakeholder review and approval status. No more sending out emails with attachments that go into the void. It's a much easier and streamlined way of getting the feedback from your colleagues. Lastly, we look at delivery, measurement, and optimization. This is an all-up curated reporting on process, resources, budget, and performance for different stakeholders with cross-project tracking and reliable ROI tracking for data-driven decision making. Of course, we know that it takes a village in marketing, right? And not just one tool is going to be able to accomplish everything you need. That's why one of the most meaningful aspects of Smartsheet is its ability to seamlessly integrate with the tools that marketers already know and love. So whether your team is designing in Adobe's Creative Cloud, whether you're brainstorming in Lucid Spark or creating assets in Canva, we can connect to these platforms and more. A few examples of customers who have benefited from Smartsheet. PTC, they were able to see a 30% increase in their campaign planning productivity once they employed Smartsheet. A really close partner of ours is McLaren. They're able to have 7 times faster content distribution, and their planning has been exceeded with the employment of Smartsheet into their workflows. And lastly, Uber has experienced 50% boost in their planning and life cycle development time. 50%. That's a pretty significant amount of productivity that's increased just by employing a new platform. But I know that when we're able to talk about Smartsheet within slides, it's conceptual. And I actually want to show you, and I think seeing is believing, and able to show you hands-on. So let's take a look and dive into what it looks like within Smartsheet. And now this is the fun part. This is where we actually get to check out the platform. So when you first get to Smartsheet, you'll have your homepage just like this. Mine is populated with all this stuff here because obviously I've been working within Smartsheet for a while. But when you come here for the very first time, if you haven't used Smartsheet yet, this will all be blank. And where you would want to start off with is this plus sign over here in the left-hand column. And what this is going to do is be able to start you off. And you can go ahead and start off with just a blank Smartsheet and build it out yourself. Or to help you get up and running, we have a template gallery here as well. And if you want to go up to the upper right corner here, you can type in marketing and see that we have some marketing templates already created. And you can go ahead and launch these or any of the other ones here within the template gallery. We've got a ton of them in here, and get up and running and adjust these to the way that you want to work. But I'm going to go ahead and show you one that I work in here just as an example. And again, all of this is just for illustrative purposes. So please don't focus too much on the actual content that might not be linear, but I can show you how you can employ Smartsheet to work for your organization. So I know I'm an anomaly. I love a grid view. I love a Gantt view. And I always pretty much work in either of those two views. But we have a number of different views here. And I really want to spend some time focused on the 3 new ones that we have launched. So timeline view is the one that I'm most excited about, and I think it's going to add a lot of value for marketers. Timeline view is just a way to, have timeline views display date-based work within a timeline here, pretty self-explanatory, right? But you can use this to, really hone in on your project roadmaps, your planning, tracking, managing tasks, work portfolios, etc. And then we also have our board view here, which our board view is a more intuitive, configurable experience than the legacy card view. And it's suited for a variety of use cases. So particularly like visual project task tracking, managing to-do lists, tracking marketing team content creation requests, things of that nature. Super easy drag and drop type functionality here, back and forth. So um, the thing to keep in mind about Smartsheet is you do not need to be, you don't really need any kind of coding. I'm far from a software engineer. I picked it up really quickly, and I'm confident you will as well. The third view that we just spoke about, we have it in preview here, is our table view, which is sort of our refreshed grid view. Um, the only reason I'm sharing this is because we did announce it at Engage, so it's public knowledge, but it hasn't quite rolled out wide yet. But I want to just be able to show you that we have this refreshed, really slick, beautiful interface that offers real-time collaboration. It's quicker filtering, custom sorting. It's an improved search experience, and also will have faster load and calculation times. So keep an eye on that coming out. But once again, we have our four legacy views. Here's our grid view. Our Gantt view will just offer the timeline off to the right here. And then we also have the legacy card view, as well as our calendar view, to be able to see, multiple different ways of looking at your campaigns. And what I really like about all these different views is if you have five collaborators working within the same sheet at the same time, um, I can be working in, grid view. My colleague can be working in, timeline view, and all of that information is being captured on the back end. So it's not like everybody on the team has to work in the same view. It's super flexible and customizable there. So much like if I was going to, I live in Chicago. The company Smartsheet is based in Seattle. If I was going to drive to Seattle for some reason, I wouldn't just get in the car and hope for the best driving out there, hoping that I'm going to get there. I'd want to plan out my route. I'd want to see how long it's going to take me. I might want to see, what my budget would be for gas. I might want to, where am I going to eat? Where am I going to, sleep overnight? All of that is, my sort of strategic planning for my trip. And the same thing with a marketing plan. You want to be able to set up all of your strategy from the beginning. So, within those multiple views within Smartsheet, by going into a sheet like this, everything is super easy, drag, drop. Um, I can go ahead and create the plan that I need in order to accomplish the tasks I have. So think about it in terms of your deliverables against your timeline. What metrics do you want to track? The number of impressions, who's going to do the work? Do they have the bandwidth to do the work? All of that kind of stuff is what we enable within Smartsheet, and that's how we have it classified here: the marketing alignment, strategic planning, coming up with your campaign in a way that's really easy to see the work that you need to go ahead and get done. But I also want to focus here on request intake and capacity planning, our second tier. And we look at this as, managing request resources, could be budget and capacity management. I'm going to use an example here, which is a promo request. So say that I'm a social media manager, and somebody within the organization wants to request for me to include something on our socials, our website, within the email newsletter, whatever it might be. I can just go ahead and have this form. I'm going to type in urgent Instagram post, and I'm going to be the requester here. And you'll notice here, and this is important, if I was to click on an email or newsletter, cool, nothing happens. But if I click on social media here, it's going to ask me for more questions because it needs more clarity. And I have this designed, using that logic on the back end, and I'll show you how that's done. It's really simple, but it's asking which social media outlet do I need to have the content go out. I picked Instagram. I'm just going to say, please post about new product launch. And the due date, you know what? I had such a busy week, and I should have gotten this request in earlier in the week, but it's the 18th. I'm going to see if somebody can try and rush this to me today so that it can, get out tomorrow. If I needed to upload any files as a reference, I can go ahead and do that there. If I want my own, responses sent to me, go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and submit this now. And then when I go to my intake sheet here, so I'm playing, if I'm on the recipient side of that request, I might be able to have a form like this that shows this new request that came through in this really ugly red and yellow line here, number one. And that's by design because I want this to stand out because it shows that it needs attention. So it has the red font because the due date is unreasonable, right? They're asking for this to be, within 1 day. So I'm going to adjust this to a more reasonable timeline and say that Monday's the date. So you'll see that that red font, that conditioning that I have went away. And then I want to get rid of the yellow and it's showing yellow because it hasn't been assigned to anybody yet. So I'm going to assign this to Stephanie, who's awesome on the team. I know she'll be able to knock this out really quickly. And there it goes. So um, we go ahead and that's all set. And I can also go ahead, if I want to see this maybe, in a different view, I can see, how many projects are being floated right now. These are out for approval. Maybe this one just got approved or that one's going to be sent out. I can go ahead and move that to completed. Right now, I have this view by status. Maybe I want to change this by, who it's been assigned to here, or maybe I want to see, the content type. I don't have that lane filled in, but I'm going to just go back to status. There's multiple different ways that you can view this and have it set up. So I'm going to go back into my preferred grid view here and I can see everything that's been requested of me. So really functional way of seeing Smartsheet at work. And I want to go into the next tier here, which is our work management, the one that excites really me the most working with Smartsheet because as I said earlier, I used to sit in, marketing manager, marketing director roles. And I worked, with folks oftentimes in many different territories, many different time zones away. So I would spend a lot of my mornings just going through emails and updating, my marketing plan with maybe, what the team in Germany sent through or Japan, et cetera, et cetera. Not a great use of time. And I tell folks that really when you're using Smartsheet and you're optimizing it, it becomes your new desktop. That's how I think of Smartsheet. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want to go into my email. I don't want to come out of Smartsheet and write an email to somebody or send a Slack or a Teams message or however else I'm going to communicate. I just want to go ahead in here and I want to, have a conversation. I want to, I can see here that I ask here, what's the latest status on this part of the campaign? I can go ahead and comment. I can go ahead and tag this Daniel Rose guy and say, we are on track to complete in time. And that gets shared. And because I app mentioned, that'll go through to the person that was app mentioned. If you're in Smartsheet, this little bell with the notifications, you'll get all your app mentions there that get called out to you. You can also have it set up so that there's an automation that if you get app mentioned that you'll get pinged on your Teams or Slack or email if that's the way that you want to work. We do have a lot of integrations, as I mentioned. So if you think about the Microsoft ecosystem, Google ecosystem, in terms of Gmail, calendar, all that kind of stuff, seamlessly integrates with Smartsheet. So not having to exit Smartsheet and being able to communicate within the context of the campaign, I find to be super helpful. The other thing is I can go ahead and add an attachment here. So here I have a PDF with some, marketing tips that I want to keep, next to my TikTok campaign. So I can go ahead and have that there. I can also say that I have some kind of legal form or contract. I can go ahead and add that to each of the line items as well. It's really intuitive way of having everything at your disposal there. So I mentioned automation as well, and I love automation for really two reasons. One is that it saves me time. I don't have to do as much work, and B, it's also that sort of extra set of eyes because computers are probably a little bit more reliable than I am these days in terms of being able to check everything. So with automation, once again, there's two different ways. So I can go ahead and create an automation from scratch, or I can create from a template. And by automation here, maybe I want to have set up a request for everybody on the team to update the campaign plan each Friday at 2 p.m. I can go ahead and set this up so that I don't manually need to reach out to the team every Friday. Smartsheet will automatically do it for me if I go ahead and choose to set that up. The other thing that I really like about Smartsheet is that, say, for example, I was out for a day and, I wanted to just sort of get a grasp of everything that had changed within the content calendar. I can go ahead and do that and highlight the changes. And I want to see more than what's happened in the past hour. I'm going to actually just select 3 days. And you can see that, I've chosen to have this highlighted in yellow, everything that's changed. So all of these have been updates that have been changed. And if I don't want to work like that all day, because obviously that's a little bit distracting, I can just go ahead and turn that off as well when I no longer need it. So that's a really valuable tool. And then the conditional formatting that I talked about right next to it here. And I can set up all kinds of new rules. So here's showing that yellow and red combo that I'd used before. I also have a complete status that moves the line to this sort of very grayed out light color because I don't want to add so much attention to it. So here, if I move this from being completed to on time, it moves it back up to that brighter black color, but I'm going to keep that back at completed here. So I can have my attachments. I can talk to colleagues and leave them comments that others can see within Smartsheet. I can see the history of the changes that have been made within Smartsheet. And also, I can go ahead and add conditional formatting so that everything is called out to me in the way that I need to. The one thing that is certainly topic of mine, and this wouldn't be a tech demonstration if I didn't mention AI. So we do have our AI tool here in the corner, and we have really three primary use cases here: analyze data, generate formulas, and then also, text and summary. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the analyze data, and I'm going to choose one of the prompts here that Smartsheet's suggesting. And I'm going to say, create a chart showing the number tasks by status. Go ahead and put that in. And it's going to take just a quick second here, and it's going to spit out a really cool chart that shows everything here. So we've got 31 tasks that are on time, 4 have been completed, just 2 are behind schedule, and then we've got 13 that we need to update the status on. So I can go ahead and copy this. I can put it in a PowerPoint deck if I need to, or however else I'm going to use the graphic. But a really cool way to be able to get some additional analytics within Smartsheet using AI. So going into our next tentpole here is our content collaboration. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's actually been covered more in our creative ops demonstration. And for example, say that I have a piece of content or something that I want to circulate to the team to get their feedback on it. So I can go ahead and upload a proof here. And I've already done this. I want to save a little time in this demonstration. And what I did is I uploaded this image of the dog, and I'm going to circulate this to a bunch of folks. So I can go ahead and I'm going to take this off of complete, and I'm going to invite my colleague Tiger here, and I'm going to ask, it says here that they want to view Instagram, and I can go ahead and change this message for, can you take a quick look and give feedback by end of day? I can go ahead and send this to her. I'm not going to because I don't want to ping my colleague. But then when she gets it, she'll receive this image that pulls up, and you can just easily, make extra comments here. So maybe, we want to close the dog's mouth a little bit, right? And you'll see that there's these numbers here. You have 3, 4, 5, and 6, and these match up to the appropriate comments here. So I wanted to add a logo, legal note, et cetera, et cetera. I can send this to a bunch of folks. The beauty of this is that everybody's seeing the content at the same time, and you can see everybody's comments on there. It's not that sort of, into the void kind of process that I used to have to deal with, attaching something to an email, sending it to 5 people, 3 people respond, net follow up, all that kind of stuff. This is just a much more simple, straightforward, easier way to get feedback from folks. I can go ahead and upload a second version once changes have been made, so on and so forth. So, like I said, I don't want to spend a ton of time on proofing. That's not the intent of today, but I did just want to cover it within the sense of the deck here. But the fifth tier that we're going to focus on is deliver, measure, and optimize impact. So dashboards, really love dashboards here. These are super customizable to the way that you want to work, to the information you want to see. And I have two here, and I always feel like two dashboards is a really good recommendation because you can have your executive level dashboard, for leadership, maybe C-suite type folks who don't need every last detail, but they just want to get the bird's eye view of what's going on. And then as a marketing manager, I might want a little bit more detail and be able to dive into everything here. And this is sort of, the way that I can see how things are going, that bird's eye view, or that, I call it my morning coffee view, because when I start my day off, I just want to look at the summaries here first. And this is a really great way to see where we may need to pivot on the campaign or adjust it as needed. And to show you the simplicity of this, there's the pencil there. This is very, drag and drop type focus. I can go ahead and pull in, some widgets here, add stuff in. I can add a chart, add a report title, pull in, web content, et cetera, et cetera. So not going to save this, but that goes into our final tentpole here of being able to deliver, measure, and optimize the impact through using Smartsheet. And the one thing I will say is that I realize that this is just a super, super fast, quick, surfacey um, example of what you can do within Smartsheet, but know that there's so much more you can do. And I also don't want you to feel overwhelmed by what I showed you today. I know it's, a lot in a little bit of time, but we do, like I said, we have those templates that I showed at the beginning. We also have a professional services team that's fantastic. And you can work with them to have them customize an instance that works well for your organization. Because I oftentimes felt like as a marketer, I would be looking at this and go, yeah, that looks fantastic. And I don't have the time to put that together to build it. So let us help you get up and running. So thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We look forward to having a continued conversation. And thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. We hope you enjoyed this webinar and learned something new. If you are interested in learning how your current marketing processes measure up against other marketing teams, we actually have an excellent tool that will help you evaluate your current marketing and creative operations stack to see how it stacks up against the rest and provide recommendations to improve how you approach the work, content, and people needed to scale your business. We will be dropping the link in the chat, so please look for that. But overall, there's so much more that we didn't cover with both Smartsheet and Brandfolder. Not every process needs to be completely overhauled, and Smartsheet doesn't try to recreate the wheel. So if you have a process that's working, we can take that process, standardize it, repeat it, and reduce manual tasks, making your work more efficient and help you onboard quicker. Or maybe you're just interested in learning what best looks like. So we would love to connect and discuss with you how Smartsheet and Brandfolder can level up your work. If you are interested in learning more, please indicate your interest in the poll that will be launching now. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you on the next webinar.